there was this king, Francis I, and his sister. See, here's his sister, Marguerite, and she accepted Christ. He never did, apparently, but because she did, he loved her.
What year are we there right now?
Oh, this is like way back. This is like in the, 1600s. Okay, so this is like ancient history. But the thing is that what's interesting about this is that the nobles of this era wanted to accept Christ. The tradesmen wanted to accept Christ. The unlearned masses, okay? Remember, this is a Catholic nation, and each king implements the faith according to how they do it. And the people, as a form of rebellion against the king, would stop learning to read. They would become illiterate. And so as a result, you had a whole bunch of illiterate people. You had people, this is the time where we're talking Gutenberg Bible and all that stuff. And so you come in and you have people accepting Christ. What do you do with it? They have to have a Bible. They have to have something to read. Well, basically, there was 20% in the south end of France that had any capability of being able to have access to a Bible. You'd have someone sitting on a countryside reading this Bible, and all the villages in the area would be down on the hillside listening to them.
Now, when is that you're talking about? During the time of this king?
Yes, Francis I. And so basically, there were 2.5 million people who accepted Christ. An interesting thing, when a person was illiterate, they accepted Christ. The first thing they did was they learned how to read. The second thing they did was they became a tradesman. So we're talking watchmakers. We're talking people who became bankers. We're talking weavers, printers, every type of trade under the sun. 2.5 million. So they went from being impoverished, people who could do nothing, who were illiterate, to being viable, income-generating money makers for this king. So Francis was a happy camper.
So this is after the Reformation. This is after Martin Luther.
Yes, this is the time of Martin Luther and the Calvinism.
So what happened? So you're at Versailles. You find out about this.
Yeah.
So what
so
happened
his son marries this woman. She's terrifying, and basically this is Catherine de Medici, and she despised Christianity as much as his sister had loved Christianity. And so we have a bunch of things that happened that she was horrible. Her husband knew that she was kind of a power-mad, crazy person. So he tried to run rein on her, but he died very quickly. She had 3 sons, and each one were king, one after the other. And she basically ruled the kingdom.
Early 1700s,
late
to mid 1600s.
I'm just remembering a piece of history here. It was called St. Bartholomew's Day, when there was a massacre.
Yes.
And there was a British diplomat who observed this. He went back to England.
And she was behind that.
Oh, okay, so she was the one.
She was horrible.
He goes back to England, and he turns the table then on the Catholics. He saw that slaughter, and he decided, we're not having it here. So he started to really go after the Catholics of that day. Queen Elizabeth I, I believe.
She was marrying her daughter to the guy that would be the next king. And she thought and saw it as an opportunity to just eliminate everybody but him. And for some reason, I guess she figured she might be able to control him. And obviously that failed. He accepted Christ. Henry II, and he was an amazing guy because he set all these rules and regulations. Now, remember, these guys were all Catholics when they were accepting Christ. And by this point, they had developed a new name, Protestants. And he set in rules and regs to give them protection.
So he was a Protestant?
Yes, can you believe that? Well, the thing is he was technically a practicing Catholic,
right,
but totally open-minded to Protestants.
Now, I heard there was a whole lot of persecution. I was in London just a short time ago, and there's a whole area there where the silver trade and industry is still there, and that dates back to France, where thousands of these, I think, Huguenots, as they were called there,
yes,
were being persecuted, and they'd gotten saved, and they'd learned to read, and they had a trade.
Yes.
And we had 100,000 of these French, I suppose, immigrants, really, who had been pushed out of France. There were complaints.
I've seen this guy.
This is the guy that pushed him out.
Who's this guy?
This is Louis XIV. This is the guy that built Versailles. So we're in this amazing building.
Guy. Wow.
You know, Versailles, you have a statue that's the height that I am, okay? Mm-hmm. They put it up on the ceiling, they encase it in gold, they put paintings. I mean, if you have never been to Versailles. The grounds are amazing, the fountains, it's just,
it's beautiful.
This guy, he is considered the bad guy in terms of the Protestants or Huguenots.
Yeah, I mean, in the UK at that time, in London, French was spoken for years, and there was complaints about that. But even today, there's a shadow of that persecution.
He took away their lands. He told them convert or die. He put guards at the borders so that they would kill people. Over 500,000 successfully left the country. The watchmakers went to Switzerland. The lace makers went to Belgium.
That's how that happened.
Ireland, okay, Ulster District got the bankers, the whole bunch. Some of them went to Germany. I mean, if you look at where they went, it's like a who's who of what happened in the prayer revival in 1857. Paul Revere, a silver maker, he was a Huguenot. It's just like it's a who's who. They went to South Africa, they went to Germany, they were all over, obviously, UK. They went to Tasmania, Australia, Canada.
So this is 16 and 1700.
Yeah.